My husband committed identity fraud in my name and then called me the devil. David and I were the kind of couple that others envied. We had been married for 8 years and on the surface, everything appeared perfect. I was a pharmacist, steady and dependable. David was a consultant. I never fully understood what he did, but he was always dressed in sharp suits, driving nice cars and talking about big deals. He was charming and could easily talk his way out of a speeding ticket or into a VIP section of a club. That's why I fell for him. I was shy and he was the life of the party. We lived in a lovely townhouse but were planning our next big step, a standalone house with a large yard for the kids we wanted to have soon. We had been saving, or at least I had been saving. I put away a portion of my paycheck every month into a joint savings account. David claimed he was investing his money in stocks and crypto, building our fortune as he called it. I trusted him. I had no reason not to. He was my husband. He brought me flowers every Friday, rubbed my feet after long shifts, and told me I was the most beautiful woman in the world. The trouble began on a Tuesday. I remember it clearly because it was my day off. We had finally found the perfect house, a colonial style with a wraparound porch. It was pricey, but with my savings and David's investments, we could easily afford the down payment. We went to the bank for mortgage pre-approval. In the glass office of the loan officer, a nice lady named Brenda, David was confident, leaning back in his chair, joking with her about the weather. I was a bit anxious, clutching my purse, as I always did during financial matters. Brenda typed our information into the computer. She smiled at us, but then her expression changed. Her smile faded and she looked at the screen with concern. "Is there a problem?" David asked, his smile still intact. "I'm afraid so," Brenda replied. "The application has been denied." "Denied?" I squeaked. "That's impossible. My credit score is over 800. I checked it on a free app. Your husband's credit is fine," Brenda said slowly, looking at me. "The problem is with you, Mrs. Miller. Your credit score is 420. I laughed, genuinely thinking it was a mistake. I have one credit card I pay off every month and student loans that are paid off. That's it. Brenda turned the monitor toward me. "Mrs. Miller, you have 14 open credit cards, 2 personal loans totaling $50,000, a lease on a luxury condo in the city, and a car loan for a Porsche. All of these accounts are currently in default or close to it. The total debt is nearly $300,000. The room spun. I couldn't breathe. I looked at the list: Visa, Amex, MasterCard, loans from banks I'd never heard of. "I didn't do this," I whispered. "This is identity theft. Someone stole my identity." I turned to David, expecting him to be outraged, yelling at Brenda to fix it. But he wasn't yelling. He was looking at his shoes, pale and not surprised. He looked annoyed. "David," I said. He looked up. "We can fix this, honey. Let's just go home and talk about it." "Fix it?" I raised my voice. "Someone stole my name and spent 300 grand. We have to call the police right now and file a report." "No police," David said quickly, too quickly. "Let's not overreact. Brenda, thank you. We're leaving." He stood up and grabbed my arm tightly. I pulled away and looked at him, really looked at him. The sweat on his forehead, the way he wouldn't meet my eyes, the expensive watch he claimed was a knockoff, the Porsche he said belonged to a client. "It was you," I stated. It wasn't a question, it was a fact that landed heavily in the room. Brenda pretended to shuffle papers on her desk. "Not here," David hissed. "Get in the car." The ride home was silent. I drove because I didn't trust him not to crash us on purpose. My mind raced with every late night he worked, every business trip, and the lack of mail. I realized he always got the mail before I did. He must have been hiding the notices. Once in our living room, I threw my purse on the couch and turned to him. "Explain," I demanded. David sighed and walked over to the liquor cabinet, pouring himself a drink without offering me one. "I needed capital," he said, taking a sip. "Business is tough. You have your nice, safe job with your steady paycheck. In my world, you need money to make money. You stole my identity," I screamed. "You ruined my credit. You ruined our chance at a house. What did you spend it on? A Porsche? A condo?" "Appearances matter," he shouted back. "I had to look successful to get clients. And the condo? That's my office. I can't work from this dumpy townhouse." "You lied to me every single day for years," I said, shaking. "You committed a crime, a federal crime. Fraud." David laughed, a cold, ugly sound. "Oh, stop being so dramatic. It's just debt. I was going to pay it back. I have a big deal closing next month." "But I do know," I said. "And I'm not going to let you drag me down. I'm calling the police and reporting the fraud." His face changed, the charm was gone, replaced by pure hatred. "You would do that?" he sneered. "You would send your own husband to jail after everything I've done for you? What have you done for me?" I asked. "You lied to me. You stole from me. I was trying to build an empire for us," he yelled. "I wanted to give you the world, but you're too small-minded to see it. You're just a worker bee. You don't have vision." He stepped closer, getting right in my face. "If you call the police," he said in a low, dangerous voice, "I will deny everything. I'll say you opened those accounts. I'll say you gave me permission. It's your word against mine. And guess what? You're the one with the debt in your name. You're the one who signed the papers. You forged my signature," I whispered. "And I'm good at it," he smiled. "Look, don't be the devil, okay? Don't be the evil wife who destroys her husband just because he took a risk. Be a supportive partner. We can dig out of this. Just sign a few consolidation loans, and we'll be fine." "You call me the devil," I said, stunned. "You steal my life, and I'm the devil." "You are if you snitch," he said. "Only a demon would send the man she loves to prison." He walked out of the room. "I'm going to the condo, I need to work. Don't wait up." He left me standing there. I didn't call the police, not that night. I sat on the floor and cried for an hour. Then I stopped. I stood up and went to his home office, the one he rarely used because he had his condo. I started digging. I didn't need to hack his computer, he was arrogant and had left his passwords written on a sticky note under the keyboard. I logged into his email and found the credit card information, the lease for the condo, and the car loan. But I found something else too. The condo wasn't an office, I found emails from a woman named Vanessa. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Bring that wine I like. Thanks for the bracelet, it's gorgeous. When are you going to leave her? He called me boring. I felt sick to my stomach. He wasn't just investing, he was funding a second life with another woman in a luxury apartment paid for by my credit score. He was driving her around in a Porsche that was in my name. I looked at the dates. This had been going on for 2 years, the exact timeline of the debt. He called me the devil, but he hadn't met the devil yet. I spent the next week playing the part of the scared, submissive wife. When David came home, which was rare, I cooked dinner and told him I was looking into consolidation loans. I assured him I wouldn't call the police because I loved him too much. He ate it up, pined for me, kissed my forehead, and said I was a good girl. He said he forgave me for overreacting. While he felt superior, I was executing my plan. I took a day off work and went to the dealership where he bought the Porsche. I brought my ID, marriage license, and the loan documents I found in his email. I told the dealer I lost my key. They looked up the file. Sure enough, there it was, my name, my social security number. No problem, Mrs. Miller, they said, cutting me a new key fob. Then I went to the management office of the luxury condo building. Again, I showed my ID. The lease was in my name, I was the legal tenant. David was listed as an occupant, but I was the leaseholder. I need a key to my apartment, I said. And I need to change the locks. My roommate has been stealing from me. They charged me a fee but gave me the master key and sent a maintenance guy up to change the lock immediately. I waited until 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, knowing David would be there. He usually worked from the condo in the afternoons. I didn't go alone, I brought 2 large movers I had hired for the day. I paid them extra for heavy lifting and discretion. I unlocked the door to the condo, which was beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows, white leather furniture, modern art. It was everything our house wasn't. David and Vanessa were on the couch, drinking champagne in the middle of the day. When the door opened, they both jumped up. Vanessa was young, maybe 25, wearing a silk robe. David was in his boxers. What the hell? David screamed. Then he saw me. His face went white. Honey, what are you doing here? I'm visiting my apartment, I said calmly, stepping over his shoes. It is my apartment, isn't it? My name is on the lease. My credit pays the rent. You can't be here, Vanessa squeaked, pulling her robe tighter. Who is this, David? I'm his wife, I said, smiling at her. And you are trespassing. David, do something, Vanessa yelled. David tried to puff up his chest. Get out, he said to me. You're crazy. I'll call the police. Go ahead, I said. Call them. Tell them you're in an apartment leased by me, driving a car owned by me, spending money from credit cards in my name. Please, let's get the police involved. I have the fraud report filled out in my bag, I just haven't filed it yet. David froze, he knew I had him. What do you want, he asked, his voice shaking. I want you out, I said. Now you have 10 minutes to pack your personal belongings. Anything you bought with the credit card stays. The furniture, the TV, the electronics, that's mine. I paid for it. You can't do that, he shouted. I replied. Receipts don't lie. If it was bought with the credit card in my name, it belongs to me. I signaled to the movers. Gentlemen, if they aren't out in 10 minutes, start throwing their clothes off the balcony. The movers crossed their arms and grinned. David scrambled, throwing clothes into a duffel bag. Vanessa screamed at him that he was a loser and a liar, then grabbed her purse and ran out the door without him. David looked at me one last time before he left, looking small and pathetic. You're ruining me, he whispered. I have nowhere to go. You're a consultant, I said cold-bloodedly. Consult yourself. I slammed the door in his face. But I wasn't done, that was just the eviction. Now came the financial ruin. I sold everything in the apartment, the furniture, the electronics, the artwork. I got about $20,000 for it all. I used that cash to hire a lawyer. Then I took the Porsche. I didn't sell it, I returned it to the dealership as a voluntary repossession. It hurt my credit score a bit more, but it got the debt off the books. Then came the final blow. I filed the police report for identity theft, giving them everything, the emails, the forged signatures, the proof that he was the one living in the apartment, not me. I established a clear timeline that I had just discovered the fraud and was mitigating damages. David was arrested a week later at a cheap motel while trying to use one of the credit cards. I had frozen them all the day after I kicked him out. During police interrogation, he tried to blame me, saying I was the mastermind, the devil who set him up, but he had no proof. I had a clean record, a steady job, and a mountain of evidence showing he was the one spending money on a mistress. He was charged with 10 counts of identity fraud, forgery, and grand larceny. Because of his prior shady business dealings, the police looked into his consulting firm, and the judge wasn't lenient. David is currently serving 4 years in state prison. As for me, it was tough. My credit was wrecked, and I had to file for bankruptcy to clear the remaining debt that couldn't be proven as fraud. Some of the cash withdrawals were tricky. I lost the townhouse and had to move into a small apartment, but I kept one thing. David had bought a small plot of land in the mountains with a business loan in my name, thinking it would be a good place for a vacation home for him and Vanessa. He put the deed in my name to hide it from his creditors. When the bankruptcy settled, I managed to keep that land because it was considered low value at the time. 6 months ago, a developer contacted me about building a resort in that area. They wanted my plot and paid me $400,000 for it. I took that money and started over. I moved to a new city, bought a house outright, so I didn't need a credit check. I'm debt-free, single, and have an ocean view. Sometimes I think about what David said, that I was the devil. Maybe he was right. I took his game, played it better, and left him in hell while I walked away with the prize. If protecting yourself makes you a devil, then hand me the pitchfork.